50% of IBS sufferers, they found in one study, have some level of childhood trauma. I think that hit home like really hard for people, because it just brought us to this understanding that what we've learned through our nervous system is what our nervous system still knows. Which is why I think conventional treatments of anxiety sometimes fail for people, because we're just trying to kind of bring down our anxiety, but our nervous system hasn't learned a new way of existing and being, and why I think stress can be so addicting for people too. I mean, there was just so much beauty in that episode, and I think it was so functional and helpful for people. Nicki, what do you feel like we missed in that episode, and you wish we would have said?
So one thing is, we wanted to remind people that sometimes if you've had a past experience of trauma, doing those body scans and checking in with your body may cause some type of uncomfortable sensation, because you don't have, being within your body is in itself dysregulating. So if you do a body check-in and you find that you're really feeling more unwell afterward, then you might associate checking in with not feeling well. So remember that, in certain situations, we might need to work with a trauma-informed practitioner before kind of trying to do those body check-ins, in terms of, whatever our past experience of trauma might have been.
I love that. And again, if you're experiencing a lot of trauma already, then diving into that trauma can feel like a lot, which is why talk therapy can be challenging for people too, because they feel like they're bringing up a lot of stuff that they don't know how to clear, basically. So in the experience of talk therapy, which is tremendously helpful and we're huge fans of, always just be checking in with your body too, and noticing what your physical body, I think, is telling you. It's really important also. Thank you for that, Nicki. So you had something else from episode 7?
I just wanted to give a shout out. This is not sponsored at all, but I just need to give a
It
shout
could
out to
be.
this. When you were talking about, it could be, when you were talking about IBS and that connection between IBS and trauma and our nervous system. There's this app called Nerva, which is a gut-directed hypnotherapy app. It's just 10 to 15 minutes a day, and I find that it's been super, super helpful for both myself and clients for just kind of calming down the nervous system. But directly related, the words that they'll use is they'll literally talk to your intestines and into your subconscious, and it's just a phenomenal app. So I'll put the link in the show notes, but I just need to give them a
Yes, you
shout out for that
do.
because I
Nerva
love them.
app. We love that, Nicki. That's awesome. And really, that I think huge themes in Quiet the Diet is self-communication, cell communication, and communication outside of self and within self. So that's really powerful. Episode 8 was the gluten or elimination diet episode. What did we love about that episode? I found feedback wise, and what other people found really helpful was, again, this idea of Quiet the Diet being a place for the people who have fallen through the cracks, and the people who do not fit a one size fit model at all. And those people are generally, people who reached out were people who had been in eating disorder facilities or had worked with disordered eating practitioners who could not acknowledge, again, that gluten for them was exacerbating that negative relationship with food. I also felt like we were able to talk about gluten in a way that it hasn't been talked about before, which is from the functional nutrition perspective, but also, again, in that model of disordered eating, which is really nuanced. And I was really excited about that episode for that reason too. We also talked about strategies people can use to talk to others about their choosing to be gluten free. Like I don't know, like have to announce this as a part of your identity. I also would say with the identity piece, what I wished I would have said is how much being gluten free used to be a part of my identity, much like how much being vegan used to be a part of my identity, and how I don't really feel the need to like do that anymore. But it felt like I was part of a cool club. I mean, I think we're still in. If anyone wants to join the club or whatever, that's totally fine. But it's been for me also important to separate that piece out from my like identity of like I'm gluten free, because it allows me to also see context for all of my clients where not everyone has to cut out gluten. A lot of people who are chronically ill probably want to or try to for very valid reasons. But I think there was that identity piece with gluten that's pretty strong. Have you experienced that too, Nicki? Like where you were like, I'm also gluten free.
Yeah, because I also had the same experience where I was vegan for 4 or 5 years, and it became like such an identity piece that when I started I like cried the first time I had chicken and seafood because I was like,
The
I
drama.
am being kicked out of this club and now I don't have,
Mhm.
I'm like stranded on the street with no club to join. And also that feeling of hopping from club to club, like I'm going from the vegan club to the gluten free club. And I mean,
Yeah,
like, you know, obviously we love the gluten free club,
we do.
but it can be a little bit unsettling to be outside of this and trying to tap into like, how do I actually want to eat in a way that feels like it is coming from you and not coming from whatever, you know, this external voice is telling you that you should be doing.
Absolutely. It always comes back to, is it your voice or is it the voice of the person who wants to be a part of the club? Who's that voice?